So are we ready, Ollie? Are we ready for this video? Have you got it all in hand and all under control? I doubt that very much. I think you're more interested in the kitchen roll, aren't you? Or the box of wet wipes, I'm not sure what. Hi there, it's Anne of Rosie Duck Designs here. Thanks ever so much for joining me today. I have to say, looking out of the window, the weather is absolutely atrocious, so it seems to me the most sensible thing to do is to stay inside and do a bit of crafting. So I had a plan to share with you another card. Yes, I'm trying to look at the camera, but I'm getting a bit of a stiff neck. My plan was to share another card using the Mosaic Mood Suite. Now, for the first time in my crafting life, I thought ahead of myself, but the video went slightly wrong, so we'll talk about that later. In amongst all that, I became aware that obviously yesterday was a big day for a number of teenagers in the country awaiting their A-level results, amongst them a friend's daughter. So thankfully it was a good result for her, but it meant that I wanted to make a card for her. So I thought, why not deviate from my plan? You know, there's nothing new in that, is there? And just share with you the card that I've made and just go through how I made it, because those of you with children and grandchildren, you may be in that situation where you're looking for a congratulations card at this time of year. And also it's the GCSE results, I think, next Thursday. So there's a lot of potential for needing congratulations cards. So this is the card that I've made. And it was nice really, because it meant I was revisiting some of the older stamp sets and the dies, which when you get a new catalogue you kind of move on, even if they're still in the current catalogue. So it's really nice to go back and revisit and use some of the products that you really enjoyed using when they first came out. So I'll put that there to try and remind myself. So I'm starting unusually with a black base card. The reason being I just wanted the dark background to really make that colour of the lovely lipstick just sort of pop out, but I don't want it to be a sombre card. I want it to be a bright and vibrant card. So you don't see very much of the black, you do see a bit here, but generally on the outside the primary colour is the lovely lipstick. But it just is a good base for that colour. So, what are you weather watching, are you, Ollie? You're going to tell us if the rain stops? I think it's unlikely. I think the wind is picking up. So we have, as normal, an 8x6 piece of card for my base, scored at 4 on the long side, and I'm just running my bone folder on that to make that well folded, nice crisp top. I've then got 3 pieces of lovely lipstick, and they are 3 3/4 by 5 3/4. So I've got 2 5 3/4 by 3 3/4. Did I say that? So I've got 3 exactly the same, but as you can see I've cut an oval out of there. So let's just deal with the easy bit. So with some snail, I'm just going to stick, I'm hoping my snail lasts the duration of this video. I've got a number on order, but the order's not going to get to me this side of the weekend. Right way around. Yeah, it doesn't matter at this moment in time. So this is the back of my card. Centralising that. So now it gets important that I don't get confused. So that's going to be the front of my card. So then I'm going to put another piece of lovely lipstick in the inside of the card. And then with this piece, what I've done with that is I've used my Big Shot, and I've used the largest of the layering ovals with the crinkle edge. So there is one slightly bigger with the smooth edge, but I want that sort of prettiness for this card, so I've used that one, which is the, as I say, the second largest, and that measures, going for about the centre, that's about just over 2.5 inches across. So I've literally just got my piece of card, I've laid that on the top in a central position, and I've run that through my Big Shot, so I've now got a hole in my card. I'm going to put that to one side because I don't want that just at the moment. I've got a piece of white cardstock which is 3.5 by 5.5. That's excuse me, my inside of my card. Let's deal with the front first. So I'm using this image from the Beautiful You stamp set, which I think this is probably about 2 years old now. So I've got the old version of this where it's not a cling stamp. In the new catalogue, I've just actually checked, and they're all they all come as cling stamps. And I have to say, apart from the very few issues that we're getting with the smaller cling stamps sticking to the block, you know, the actual pattern bit, this bit, it kind of outweighs the inconvenience of these. So it's cling all the way for me, I have to say. And you only sort of appreciate that when you find yourself using an older stamp set that you've got and finding that that really won't stick to your block. So the good old lip salvers come out. But as I say, if you haven't got this set and you fancy it, then it will come as a cling version now. So using my E-block, just going to attach that to my block, just pushing that onto. The last thing I want it to do is to sort of slide off. Now I'm taking my Memento ink, and that is important because I'm going to be colouring in the image using some stamping blends. So this is a water-based ink, and that works with your stamping blends which are alcohol based. So this rough piece of, not rough, but roughly sized, it hasn't got to be in any way accurate, but mine is 3 by 5, but I'm probably going to cut that down before the end of before I put the card together. We will see. So I'm just flipping this over. Put that somewhere safe. Now the idea is that that image will then, it won't fit exactly, it's slightly too wide for this hole that I've made, but it's not that important. You're just going to cut off a tiny bit of her foot or a tiny bit of her arm. In true style, there is something I've forgotten. I've got eyes being raised up to the sky. I did well. I will go and get that in a moment. Let's carry on with this just for a moment. So I'm going to also use this stamp. It's one of 2 boxes that you get with the Beautiful You stamp, and there's another couple of images of the lady. as well. Actually, while I go and grab the thing I'm missing, I'll grab the other bit of the stamp set to just share that with you. But I'm going with this bit, Celebrate. If I can find it. There we go. So if you've got one of these old style stamp sets and you do struggle with keeping them on your block, then lip salve always seems to work well for me, I have to say. Just make sure you're pressing it on, because even with that, if you overdo it, it will slide about a bit. It's looking good. So I'm taking my lovely lipstick ink, and I'm going to just put it above here, just above her head. So not too much excitement with you going to sleep, Ollie, is there? So perhaps it might be better to pause the video and I will just go and grab the stamping blend that I've forgotten. So I've retrieved the other box of the Beautiful You stamp set. So as I said, there's another couple of images of the lady, a couple of nice background stamps, and there's some really lovely sentiment stamps in here. So it's something I used an awful lot, particularly in the first year stroke second year that I had it. But as I say, you do tend to move on and forget what you've got, so it's been really nice revisiting this again. I have to say, using this image in particular, I did a few little watercolour actual pictures using that, so you can sort of be like an artist without being able to draw. So I highly recommend that. So put that on the side. So I've got my stamping blends. So I've got Pool Party in light. I've got hopefully Daffodil Delight in light, Granny Green Apple in light, Lovely Lipstick in light, and I've got the Ivory Skin Tone one. Now I'm not really using them as blends, I'm just using them as a colouring tool basically, and I'm going to use the fine tipped end as opposed to the thick end that does sort of heavy colouring. I still haven't got round to establishing what they're officially called, I have to say. I know there's a technical term for them. So I'm just going to go with her arm. Unfortunately there's no sort of quick fix to this, because I'm just having to take the time to colour it in. Hopefully it won't take too long. So this is a nice colour, just for a skin tone. I have to say, all my stamping blends are kept in a tin, one of it's a Stampin' Up tin. I forget what came in it some time ago, but it's the ideal size. But I have literally on my order that is winging its way to me now, I've ordered one of the storage versions for the stamping blends. So I'm quite excited about that. I'm going to have them all in front of me and I'll have all the colours that I can see, rather than tipping it all out and sort of almost like lucky dip. So yeah, something I'm looking forward to. So I've got my lovely lipstick, and I'm going to do a hat in that. And then with that I've ordered, there's like a little box thing that sits on the top. You can either go for a lid or this little box, but the box will hold things like your ink refillers and embossing powders and things. So yeah, really looking forward to that. So I'm going with the Daffodil Delight just for the top. So she's just merging a little bit of extra colour into the card. and some granny green apple on her skirt. Now you could go into blending this, but I'm not going to worry. I'm just going to colour it in. The skirt certainly lends itself to blending because you've got all these different folds and things. But I'm trying to make my life not too complicated. Just pick up this bit here, to the folds of her skirt. Just making sure I've got that coloured in everywhere. Now the reason we've used Memento with the water-based ink is that it will not then merge in with the alcohol base of the blends, so it is important that we use the right ink with the right colouring tools. So I'm just going to put a bit of Pool Party because this is supposed to be water. Just to add a feeling of water on that. And I want some Wink of Stella, of course. And apart from her arms and legs, I'm basically just going to cover the whole thing with Wink of Stella, because it's a celebratory card, so we want a nice pop of colour and a nice bit of bling, I think. Now whilst the first card that I've actually made, I'm going to send that off to our friend's daughter. It lends itself to other reasons for celebration as well, so it's not just exam celebration. So if somebody's perhaps got a new job or achieved something, it will also make a really nice card to send to them. Or you could just change the sentiment and use the basis of the card for any occasion that you think that this design fits. Nice bit of Wink of Stella going on there. It's quite hard because there's hardly any, well, there's definitely no sunlight. Yeah, I don't think that's going to show up, but it's nice and shimmery. So all I'm going to do with that now is pick up the piece of lovely lipstick that I've already cut out the oval on, and I'm just going to add some snail just around the outside of the oval on the back at this moment in time. And without sticking it firmly at this point, I'm just trying to find the best part that I actually want to capture within of the image that I want to capture within that oval. Now, it's going to be quite a tight fit. I think I'd rather keep some of her leg, but I can't lose the celebrate bit. I think maybe that will be okay. You can always go, actually, because it's not, doesn't matter if this goes a bit that way to fit the oval, if that makes any sense. It hasn't got to be square on it, as long as your celebrate isn't wonky. Right, so not sure what happened there. My cameraman insists that he didn't move his hand, and I do believe him. So I think we're just about there, so I'm going to go for it. I'm just going to lower my top card onto the bottom bit. So there's not too much on there. That I'm sort of taking a chance there, just having it near my grid paper, but there isn't a massive amount of glue showing. So now I'm going to stick the whole thing. So I actually didn't need to trim. I thought I might need to trim this bit of paper, but I didn't. I'll just make sure I've got the corners. Just going to put that, centralise that onto the front of the card. If you've got animals, you will know this problem. If you haven't, you won't know what I'm talking about. But it's very easy to pick cat hairs or dog hairs, I'm sure, up with glue. I definitely think that was one of yours, Ollie. So that's the card, and we're just going to dress that up with a couple of other elements from the Tropical Chic stamp set and the coordinating dies. Oh yeah, here they are. I had myself worried there for a moment. So I've already cut them out to save a bit of time, but I will just share with you what I've done. So I've used this stamp from the Tropical Chic stamp set, which I have to say I love this flower. I mean, it sounds silly because it's a tropical stamp set, but it just reminds me of something tropical, which I suppose is a good thing, really, isn't it? I'd be a bit worried if it reminded me of an English country garden. But that stamp combined with this colour, I think is brilliant. So I've just would have stamped a couple of those out, and I would add Wink of Stella to them, which again I don't think you're going to see, but there's all Wink of Stella over the top of that. And then using my Big Shot, I would then cut it out using, so it's the tropical dies, and it's this coordinating die that works with this little flower. Now I'm using my magnetic platform because it does help the stamps to stay in the right place. Every time I mention my magnetic platform, I feel that I need to say, do not use one of these if you've got a pacemaker fitted or any other illness that reacts badly to magnets. Of course, if you're in that position, you know far more than I do, but I just feel that it's one of those things you need to say. I have to say I use my magnetic platform all the time. I rarely actually get my other normal platform out, but even with the magnet, because it's so strong, when you're using quite a small die, position it over your image that you're going to cut out, and then just secure that using a post-it note. Then that isn't going to go anywhere when you run it through your Big Shot. So if you're using your standard plate, which is, I mean, this is the Stampin' Up Big Shot, but any Big Shot that you buy will come with its platform. So this is your standard one, and that works even better then because you've got nothing to secure when you put that down. It can move very freely, particularly when you're running it through. I'm still getting the magnet through there, that's why there's the warning on them, because it's such a strong magnet. But if I'm using just my normal base plate, it becomes even more impossible to keep a small die like that in place. So this little tip is a really good one. Now that's not going to move as you run that through the machine. And I've cut the leaves out, so I haven't stamped the leaves, I've just cut them out, and I've used this stamp out of that set of dies. So you could, sorry, What, you can't keep up?
No.
Sorry. I do apologise. You see, now if my director wasn't having his afternoon siesta, you see, it would all be under control, wouldn't it? So, what you could do is you could run those two things through the machine at once, saving yourself a bit of time. So it's a piece of granny green apple, and then I've just stamped the little flower on Whisper White using lovely lipstick. Just recapping there. I'm probably anxious to get through it all before the tablet plays up again and decides I don't want to record this bit. So, a little bit of information about the big shot. Let's just put that over there. So, in preparation, I've cut two of these out. I can pick them up, and I've got 4 of the flowers. I don't know where my craft scissors are. Put some in here. So with these, they're going to be too long. So I'm just going to cut down. I'm going to start with cutting 4 of the leaves off. And I'm just going to try that. Yeah, so it's still a bit long, so I'm going to go with I've cut 3 off from the bottom. So I'm going to put one there, and then I want another one just coming round here. So I think I might just, again, I'm going to start with 2 off of the bottom. But depending on where your oval is and exactly where you've positioned your front of the card, it's worth checking before you start literally sort of chopping off the leaves. So I've started with 2, but I finished up with 3, but I think the 2 probably works here because I'm going to have the leaf coming over here a bit. So try it before you sort of cut any more off. So I'm going to stick some snail down the bottom here because you're not going to see that. The trick is to remember where you had it before you took it off. I'm just aiming it there towards the corner of the lovely lipstick. This is not the one I cut, it's this one. And then I'm going to put some more snail on down the bottom here. Now you could use some Tombow or you could use some fine tip glue. It's probably more sensible. However, I tend to get it all over my hands, so I'm actually going to get rid of that leaf. Even with that, I've stuck it to my finger. Never mind. So I'm going to have that draped over there. Draped. And then I'm just going to secure that on the top using a glue dot. No, not a glue dot. A stamping dimensional. I'm just going to pop the flower just over the top there. And then the same down the bottom. So start with taking 2 off. I might have to go with that one off. Yeah, I think that's fine. So I've taken 5 off of that one. So again, I'm aiming that into the corner of the card. The flower with its stamping dimension is going to keep the leaves in place, as well as the little bit of snail that you're using. So it's doing a twofold job. It's giving you a bit of height, but it's also helping to keep the leaves where you want them. I'm just going to stick that one there. That's the front of the card done. So we've yet to do the inside of the card. So I've got my, I say 3.5 by 5.5 piece of Whisper White, and I'm just going to add a flower to match the front. This flower. Seriously? Who wants ice cream on a day like this? I've heard of optimism, but that's ridiculous. You want a hot cup of cocoa. And I'm just going to put some Wink of Stella on here. Of course. My worst nightmare that I ran out of Wink of Stella. Very carefully, just going to add a little touch to these stamens at the top here. So with this card that I'm sending off, I've put So Happy For You, which came out of this set, the Beautiful You set, and then on the envelope I've just added a couple of flowers, and I've also put a congratulations on the back there, and that's from the Little Elephant set. With this one, I'm just going to put a congratulations in the middle of it, and I'm going to take that from my favourite stamp set, the Beautiful Bouquet. I can find it, there we go. He's not giving up, is he? I'm sure there's some little children out there that doesn't matter about what the weather's doing. I'm just going to stick that across the bottom, the middle of the card. And before I send it off, I haven't brought the envelope in with me, but I will add those two florally elements to it, just to pretty up the envelope. So all I've now got to do to finish this card off is to stick that in the middle. Go for the right way up, that always helps. So that's our inside, and that's the outside. So a nice bright card for a dreary day. So obviously that is very feminine, that card. So it got me thinking that whilst I didn't have any males to make a congratulatory card for, it did make me think what I could come up with. I'm looking lost around my desk because I'm not sure what I've done with it. Do you know what I did with it? Oh, here it is, look. So I came up with this one using the Sailing Home suite, Sail Away suite, but you know the one I mean. And so I thought that was quite nice, nice sentiment for somebody who's just done well in their exams. And in this instance, I would leave it blank to just add my own little message too. So my plan is to just come back and with another video and share that with you quickly. It's quite an easy card to put together. So I will be back over the weekend with that one. And so that pushes back the Mosaic Mood cards. Now, I mentioned at the start I was quite on top of everything last week, really, and we did this other video featuring this card, but unfortunately it was on the Friday afternoon when a number of us in the UK had a massive power cut. So mid me making the card, there was the neighbours banging on the door, everyone trying to find out whether everybody else had lost their power. There was house alarms going off. There was all sorts happening. But I kind of got to the end of the video, and I even said on the video, look, I've made the card, I'm going to upload it, sort of warts and all. However, when I then just checked it before I uploaded it, it kind of sounded like I was talking to you through a massive water, really. So if there was an outtake section on YouTube, that's where I'd be putting it. But I will be back with another version of this after this one. Unfortunately, as I've mentioned, I've got a number of anniversaries in August, so this will be winging its way to the recipient. But I will just quickly run this through. The fact that I've used the Mosaic Mood Designer Series paper, but I've actually teamed that up with a colour that's not part of that suite, and that is Cajun Craze. So not something that I particularly use very often, but I thought it worked really well because of the terracotta tile element. You've got the darker version almost of that colour, which is very close to the Cajun Craze. So all this has been done in Cajun Craze, and I think that worked quite well with that paper. So we'll be back to do another version of that card in a slightly softer palette. So that is my plan. Before I go, just a quick reminder, the joining promotion is still ongoing until the end of the month. So there's a blog post on my blog just outlining all the details, but basically instead of your £130 worth of products that you get for your £99 joining fee, you will currently get £155 and an additional £8 to spend in the following month, so in September. So it's a great time if you've been thinking about joining up to be a demonstrator. It's a great time to give it a go. There are no catches. If it's not something that's working out for you, then you just simply stop being a demonstrator. So nothing really to lose, a lot to gain, in the sense that you get a lot of products for just £99. The autumn winter catalogue is going live on the 4th of September. I will be sending mine out towards the end of next week. That is my plan. So if you would like a copy, then please use the contact me button on the link rather on the front, and I will happily put one in the post to you. As usual, the normal links for Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, my shop, join my team, my blog will all be on the front of the video. If you've enjoyed the video, then please do give me a thumbs up, and if you'd like to subscribe to my channel, then that would be great. You just get to be told when I've uploaded a video, and you get to choose whether or not you'd like to view that particular one. My blog is also, you're able to subscribe to that, and a new feature for me from August is that I've uploaded my monthly newsletter onto that. So that's a good way of just keeping in touch with me and with what's going on in the world of Stampin' Up. So I think that's all I've got to say. My dozing director is totally out of it. So I think all is left for me is to say goodbye from Ollie on his behalf. Goodbye from my very capable cameraman. And goodbye from me. So until next time, take care. Bye.